Que nanas capten que se manito. Oche amane pe matsoen. Hey ya ho. Que nanas comte nanochi
Hello, everyone. Oh my gosh. Am I glitching? Okay. I am good. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Hailey Rose Podcast. I am your host, Hailey Rose. I am so sorry. We were running a little bit late. And I do have a special guest with me today. So I'm very excited about that. But man, for like the past week, I'm talking like maybe 2 weeks, I've been having like these crazy spiritual awakenings. And, it kind of tripped me out in a way because I didn't know how to handle it. And I'm such a empathetic person, I pick up energies all the time. And it gets a little scary because you don't know what's going on. And I know there's a lot of people out there where they're picking up other people's energy and they're starting to feel upset or angry or mad or whatever. And they don't know where it's coming from. And you ask them and they're like, I don't know why I feel this way. And so I have been learning more myself about, what those things mean and how to not absorb those negative energies and how you can ground yourself, right? And so, I have amazing family who have that knowledge on energies and whatnot. So they've been helping me a lot understand those types of things. And it gets a little crazy because you don't really know too much about energies and whatnot. So it's really cool to be able to learn those things and have people around you who surround you who have that knowledge and information so that you are grounding yourself and not walking every day with other people's energies, and that, you're staying healthy and you're being mindful of your own energy. And so I have a special guest with me today. I love her so much. She is amazing. She is my grandma, and she is very knowledgeable. I love her with my whole heart. So I would like to welcome my grandma, Corrine Whitford. Hey, Grandma. Can she hear me here?
Can you hear me, Hailey?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you good?
I can't hear you.
No way.
I don't know what happened. These aren't working, and all of a sudden
She's having some difficulties. No.
I can hear you again.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yes, it's the darn earbuds.
It's okay. Hey, Grandma, do you want to tell the people that are watching a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Well, where do I start?
Where do I start?
Yeah, where do I start? Well, my mother is originally from Red Pheasant Reserve, and she married out, and so she lost her treaty. And after your grandfather, or great grandfather too, I guess, after my dad and her separated, my mother kind of went away from the reserve. So we weren't really raised around the reserve. We were raised in several different little small towns. I always say when we're going to Saskatoon from here, I've lived in Cando, I've lived in Bigger, I've lived in just on the outskirts of Purdue. We used to live on a farm, and my mom used to have chickens and pigs and cows. And anyways, we ended up in BC for a while and Saskatoon. So I was raised a little bit of everywhere. So I kind of was introduced into different cultures and like different ways. Like it's not just only one way. I was kind of raised here and there. So my mother always said that she wanted us to be able to survive in the world away from the reserves, to be able to support ourselves and be independent.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And grandma, you have years and years of, healing and energy and learning that stuff, and you have that knowledge. And I'm like grateful enough to even be able to learn from you, because if anything, I want to learn from my grandma. But especially for me right now, during this pandemic, it's like the weirdest time because I'm picking up energies, and I don't know, like, what's happening, right? Because I don't really know too much about that, and I'm constantly asking questions. I'm seeing numbers, and I know there's a lot of people out there who are seeing those angel numbers, and I've been seeing like 111, I've been seeing 333, and we were on the phone earlier and I saw 444, and it was weird because I don't really know too much about what those mean, and I want to be more mindful about it because I think not a lot of us know what those could mean for ourselves, but those are signs, right? Those are signs that you should be mindful and actually be checking in on what those might mean, because everything that might be coming across your way or coming towards you, it's definitely a sign that an angel or somebody's trying to tell you to guide you. So what do you do when you're absorbing energies? Like, how do you know you're absorbing other people's energies?
well, when I observe, it depends on the energy. Like I can feel it. Sometimes people, um, they're anxious or scared, or some of them even have not a nice thing to say, but some people do have bad energies, and you can pick up on those. Like you feel
Mm-hmm.
there's a dark. To me, anyhow, it feels different, and when that happens, and if I feel like I'm picking up too much energies of other people, whether it be negative or positive, I always try to ground myself. And sometimes that's the only thing you can do, is to ground yourself so you're not bombarded with all those feelings and anger sometimes. And the happiness is nice. I like the happiness, but when it comes down to the negative energies, that's when I really, really am mindful of trying to ground myself and keep myself protected from that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A little
And I
exercise.
think, especially as like indigenous people, and you were saying this earlier, is like we all have that gift, because we're so connected to nature and we're so connected to our Mother Earth.
Mhm.
And so how do you think that takes a big role in like who we are as indigenous people? Like you were talking about earlier, like, when you see kids and they're running bare feet around everywhere, like what does that show, and what do you pick up off of the ground?
Well, what I believe, and like what I know, and what, well, my beliefs anyhow, is that when little kids are running around on the ground, they're picking up the energies from the earth. Now, the earth has, like I was telling you earlier, the earth has lots and lots of energies, and everything has an energy, and everything is living. No matter what
Mm-hmm.
somebody tells you at one point, that object or something that we use, like I was telling you, our furniture, our clothing, at one point it was a living thing. Like it had energy, and it was living. So everything gives off an energy. Everything around us gives off an energy. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
guess sometimes you go to houses and you can feel that, they say some are haunted and that. And um, I believe that they leave a little bit of their energy sometimes when they leave, because I think when we as people are energies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and these little kids do it naturally. Like when they run around barefoot, like I was saying to you earlier, when they run around on the ground barefoot, they take off their shoes, and they're touching the earth, and they're touching the dirt, and they're connected to the earth. They're connecting themselves. And
Mm-hmm.
now in today's society, everybody is afraid to take their shoes off. You're going to step on this, you're going to step on that. But I think sometimes we have to take off our shoes and just connect back with the energy. Even sitting on the ground, bare ground, like just sit down and put your hands there and let your body.
Mm-hmm.
I've even gone as far as just laying on the grass or just laying there.
Just laying there.
Yeah,
You know what?
exactly.
But there's like a different interpretation for everyone who, talks about energy. Like, and a lot of people don't even know about it. A lot of people live with it their whole entire life, not even knowing what energy means. So I want to ask like the people watching, like, what does energy mean to you? Right? Because everyone is going to have a different interpretation of what energy is or what it does for you, right? And like, even me being so young, because I am really young still, and I know I have to like learn a lot. I haven't even read a book on like healing or anything yet, so I'm still really far away. But um like I actually really do believe that everything has energy. Like literally, if it's not moving, it's still like alive, or it was at one time. And I've been to school a couple times, even with, like, my science teachers, and they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Yes." Like, everything is energy, and, a lot of people don't understand that, but I truly believe that, like, everything has energy, whether it's walking or whether it's not even moving, it still has that type of energy. And I remember earlier you were saying, a house because it's made out of wood, right? And that wood did come from a tree, and a tree is growing. It was living at one time. And I really I really like that you have that capability where you can literally go somewhere or go into a place or talk to somebody, and you can just like feel their energy. You can tell if they're bringing something bad to the table. You can tell if they're a really crazy and joyful person and whatnot. But what do you do when you can feel those types of things? Like, do you put I know some people like to put their hand behind their back if they don't want to pick up those energies. I know some people will cross their legs or cross their hands or across their belly. But like, what do you do? Because I haven't really actually watched your actions until, like, I'm talking about it right now, but I'm kinda curious, like, what you do.
Well, for me, when I ground myself, is like what I was telling you, like you ground yourself. For me, I pull the energies from the earth, and I visualize the energies from the earth coming up through my feet, all the way up my legs, through my body, and then out my fingers. And I do a lot of praying. Like, I know some people don't, there are a lot of people out there that don't believe that there's a higher being or whatever, but I believe that there is a higher being, like there's a God, and I pray, I ask, help me, like get me through whatever I have to get through, and protect me from whatever is not good for me, and to only let the good stuff come to me, and
Mhm.
not to let bad things to enter into play into whatever I'm doing. Even
Mhm.
when you cook, if you're cooking when you're mad, that energy, like your food doesn't taste good. It doesn't. Like,
Just really beating your bannock.
yeah, get a
It
real
won't
tough
taste good.
bannock, rubber bannock.
You have some real hard bannock.
It's happened. I know it's happened with myself. If I had a bad day and I come home and I try and cook and I'm still not feeling good, and I cook and nothing tastes right. Even my
Mhm.
family, like when they're eating it, they'll say this doesn't taste like it usually does. A lot of times they don't even know that I was upset, and they know the difference when the food comes off, because you put your energy, you're putting your love into that food. So when you're cooking, that's what you should do. You should put that love into your food, and you know,
Mhm.
it'll come out nice. Especially if
Yeah.
you're thinking about who you're going to give it to and who's going to. But I like cooking anyhow when I'm mad.
I like cooking anyhow. Yeah,
Oh.
I when I go around people, I sometimes I can sense when, like, oh, I'm getting weird vibes or I'm not getting good vibes. And I know personally for me, like, I'll distance myself from those people, but it kind of like, I kind of question for people that don't really understand that, or people who like maybe feel those things, but they don't know where it's coming from, or they don't understand. And a lot of people don't even, believe in energy or whatever, or haven't even learned about it or touched on it. And I want people to understand that, if your gut is telling you something, or if you can feel it in your hands, or, maybe if you're out doing something and you're around, people that aren't good for you, and your hands start to sweat, or, you start to feel a little like bombarded or something, that, it's that energy is telling you maybe you have to get out of there, or maybe, you should leave, because it's the energy that's telling you not to do it, or not to be in that place or that position. But I know what you were telling me is like, I think like you get to that part where you can just tell by looking at somebody, like you can tell, if they're really good, if they're truly a good person, or, maybe they're not the most positive, or maybe they're, like they're not looking for the best for you. And I think being so young too, I'm constantly around people in school. I'm constantly picking up people's energies. And sometimes I come home and I'm angry, or sometimes I come home and I feel really upset. And I'm like, well, nothing's going on in my life right now. Like I feel good. Like nothing's going on right now where, I should be upset right now, right? And instantly I remember, like, I'm an empathetic person. Like I can easily, feel other people's emotions. Like when you go to a concert or something and everybody's like, woo, 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 you're like, yeah, right? And sometimes I take it out like on mom. I'll take it out on mom, or I'll take it out on like my little brothers, or I take it out like, like I don't want to do anything because I just don't feel great. And it's not even because of me. It's because I was picking up somebody else's energy. And so I want to talk about how you can ground yourself and make sure that you're not picking up those people's energies, and so that you're being mindful. So I know you have some really, really great techniques of grounding yourself, because I mean, my only technique is like, don't pick up this energy. But I know you have better techniques, so let me in. Let me in.
Well, I did let you in today. Remember the exercise we did before all of this, earlier in the day, before the podcast, and kind of that's why I ended up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing, because you said you didn't feel good, so I told you that, well, we'll do some distance energy, because, and then you questioned, you said, well, is that going to work just as good? And so I didn't really answer you till I got home. And then when I got home, I called you, and then we went through little exercises, and I told you like how to do it, and a little bit more complicated than what I would show somebody brand new. But you've been around energy, like the energy work and stuff like that. You know a little bit of it. But for somebody who doesn't know anything about energy, I would do a more simple exercise with them to kind of ground themselves. Like it wouldn't be something that would take like a whole bunch of time and all like too much energy. Um, like with you, we kind of went an in-depth one. And why don't you tell how you felt after you did the exercise of grounding yourself?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're passing it off to me, just kidding. Yeah, today, I don't know. I was feeling like really sluggish, I guess. And I've been losing my motivation, and I usually have all the effort. Like I was sitting in class, I couldn't even focus. Like everything I was learning in my class, it was like going to the back of my head. And I was like, this is not like me, Hailey. Like, you're always ready to get into school and stuff. And I guess I kind of felt like this for like the past couple of days, but I just, I was going for walks, and, I was doing those self-care things that I usually do. But then I was like, but I'm not like breathing or anything. Like, yeah, I'm going for walks and I'm working out, or maybe, you know, I have a bath or something or a shower, but I completely forgot that I had to just breathe and like find what was bugging me or where it came from. And I messaged you and I was like, can we do some healing? Like, can you run some energy on me? And yeah, you called me after school and you were already like starting, and I was talking to mom upstairs, and I started to feel like a little like better as I was laying on the couch. Like I was like laughing at TikToks, and I was like, yo, like I was just like really upset like 20 minutes ago. And yeah, we called and you were already doing it for like 15 to 20 minutes. Hey, you were already running that energy through the distance or whatever. And when you were doing it, you told me that you could feel that there was a lump in my throat, right? And you could feel it in your hands. And that's what happens when you run energy. You can feel it. You can feel the little tingling. You can feel it wherever, you know, that person might be injured or whatever. You can feel it, right? Right?
Yeah, most of the time.
And so I was listening to her and I was like, yeah, I was like, she's spot on. Like, I do have a lump in my throat. Like, I should be crying right now. And yeah, so you ran me through like this is it, yeah, technique, I guess. And you told me to breathe. And you wanted me to breathe in through my nose really deeply, as much as I could. And you wanted me to pick up positive energy from the ground, was the first one, right? You wanted me to pick up everything, the positive and the good, with my body, right? And let it go through my body and work up from my toes and go all the way to my head. And then when I wanted to breathe out, I exhaled all of the negativity that was going on in my body and in my head. And you made me repeat that 3, 4, 5 times. And I think by the 4th time I did that, and when I was picturing something, I bet you if people were doing this, they would think of different things, right? Like positive things. I was like seeing like laughing through like this wave, and I was seeing like flowers like blooming up me, like growing with me. And then when I was like, okay, that negativity, I was like, like let it go, Hailey. And by the 4th one, I could feel it, and you're like, okay, and when you feel better, you'll know when to stop. And I stopped at like the 5th one, and I was like, I feel better. And when I was breathing, when I was inhaling, I felt it in my throat where it was shaking. And like you said, like you have a lump in your throat. And I was like, when I was breathing, I was like I was shaking in my throat. And by the 5th time, the 5th breath, it was already like completely subtle and calm and free. And I was like, I feel good. But I want you to explain the other one that you did, because it was the tree one. But I don't want to say it how it isn't, you know?
Well, with the tree, like I was saying, like I wouldn't want to go like as intense with somebody that doesn't know anything about energy work. But I would go like a little simpler one. Like I would do the tree one where they visualize themselves. Some of it is visualization work. Like you have to visualize it, and the breathing techniques and that. And like I said, I would do the one with the tree for a first timer, like not to scare them off or think this is so much work, and But what do you want me to kind of go through it now, or okay?
Yeah.
What I would do is I'd ask the person to stand with their feet kind of spread your feet out a little bit so that you can.
Do you want me to do that?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, I'll do it.
Good idea. Okay, that's a good idea. Then that way people can kind of visualize what we're doing.
Okay. I don't want to mess this up, but I want to show these people that I'm actually going to do it. Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So I would get the person to stand and maybe put your feet apart a little bit so you're steady on your feet, so you're not wobbling around over anything.
Okay.
And then I would close your eyes, or if you want to leave them open, but like for visualization, it's probably better to close your eyes. And imagine yourself being a tree, and your feet are going to be the roots that are going to reach down into the earth. Like visualize your feet being roots, and they're going deep into the ground. Like you're a big oak tree or something, and you're reaching and you're just taking all that energy from the ground, and it's coming up your roots. Now it's going to come up your trunk of your legs. That'll be your trunk. And as you're doing this, I want you to breathe in and then let it out. Breathe in all the good positive energy and exhale all the negativity. And now the energy's traveling up your trunk, your tree. How are you feeling?
Yo, I forgot I was podcasting.
Okay, well, just keep going.
I forgot I was podcasting for a minute.
Okay, well, just keep going. And like I
Okay.
said, let all that negative energy out.
I was like in my own zone there. I was actually in my own zone. Okay.
So when you're breathing in all that positive energy, you're bringing it all the way up to your trunk and to your branches, like you can put your arms out. Then when you exhale, let all that energy go out of your hands and down, out of your body and away from your tree and onto the ground. And
Oh, like I actually have. Oh, I feel the waves. I'm just kidding. Like I actually have to go like this?
you can if you want, yeah, because you're a big tree. Remember that. You're strong. Your roots are going into the ground. You're picking up all the positive energy. It's going up the trunk, through your branches, and then you're going to shake off all that negative energy all through your branches. Let it all fall off. And at the same time as you're doing that, you're bringing all the positive energy, and that's how you ground yourself. Imagine positive, good energy circling your trunk, your tree, circling all the way up to your head, and all that negative energy is being pushed out your branches, and you're gone.
Okay. I just waved that negative energy, but holy smokes, Grandma. You almost took over the podcast because I was like in my own zone. I was so into that. I like literally almost forgot I was podcasting. That was really cool. And it's so it's such a refreshing feeling. And when you're doing it, you know the negativity, like you're thinking of what brings you positivity because everybody's gonna think of it differently, right? Like I was thinking of things growing off of me when I think of positivity. But for some people, maybe it's like family, like maybe they're thinking positively about their family or them blooming somewhere or them in like an open field, and they're like, but I think it's like it honestly really does help. And personally, I know there's a lot of people out there who get anxiety and stuff, and
Yep.
even those techniques like help. And like when I used to first start podcasting and I was like just starting, I would get really sweaty and my hands would start to sweat, and I would start to shake. I could feel my heart pounding, and I would just breathe. and I would breathe in and I'd breathe out, and I would do that like 3 times, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to go into it now. And that's what, like, it really does help. And I'm like so thankful that, you're like teaching me these things, because you can't learn these things in school, right?
No.
Like, and you would never learn anything about energy in schools. And I think it's such an important aspect to Indigenous culture, right? Personally, for
Well,
me.
I didn't know like what was going on with me when I first started. When
Mm-hmm.
I was younger, I used to like I remember this little boy. He was just full of scabs, like all over his body. Like he had such bad eczema,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up keeping him for a while. And he used to cry because his eczema would hurt and itch, and he was a baby, like he was 10 months old, I think, at that time. So I used to pick him up, and I'd hold him, and then I'd pray. I'd pray for him to be calm, and I'd like rock him back and forth and sing him songs and like just care for him.
Mm-hmm.
At within that week, well, not just about 10 days. By the time he got back to where he was supposed to be, his scabs are gone. I never understood that. Like that was years and years ago, and I didn't know. I didn't know about energy, and so I,
Yeah.
I kind of just put that in the back of my head, and I didn't think of it really anymore. But most of my life, I've been the calm one. Like I'm the one that calms everybody down and tries to keep everything calm. Usually, not all the time, but usually.
Yeah,
But
when I
it's
when I go to your house, I would just sleep for like 5 hours, have a 5-hour nap, just wake up and forget where I was. Because it
everybody.
like
Yeah.
just the energy in your home, it's just like so calm, so warm. So it just puts you right out. And I just really like that, you know?
So, anyways, I kept doing different little things, kept showing up, and finally, I don't know, I had some kind of a crisis. I don't want to talk about what kind of crisis it was, but it was a little crisis. And then I went and seen this healer. And when I seen this healer, he was running energy on me. This is how I found out about energy. This was my first encounter with energy. And anyways, he was running energy on. I had my eyes closed, and he was running energy on. I was on the table, and he was doing all his energy in that, and I started
Mm-hmm.
seeing colors, like colors, all kinds of colors swirling around me. And I said, "What's? I'm seeing colors." I said, "What's that all about?" Like when you close your eyes, you can see the red, like if there's a light or whatever. But I was literally seeing colors, like rainbow colors and vivid purples and vivid greens. And
Mm-hmm.
finally, when I was done, he told me, "You have a gift." He said, "You haven't used it yet. You're just starting now to open up." He said, "I'd advise you," he said, "to find somebody to teach you." And I said, "Well, where am I going to find somebody to teach me? Like, you'll know." He said, "You'll find that somebody." He said, "Just look." He said. So that's where it started. I ended up looking for this advisor, whatever, this energy worker. I went on, well, we already had internet by then. And so I started looking on the internet, and I seen this one fellow, he was teaching energy work. So I called him, and he said, "Come on down." He said, "And come and have a look." So I went to his area where he does his teaching and that. Drove
Mm-hmm.
down there, and then I said, "I'd like to take your class." I said, "But oh, you're just on time." He told me, "I'm starting a class tomorrow." And I said, "Well, how much is the class?" And he told me, and I just about fell out of my chair. I
Was
said,
it expensive?
it was very expensive. Yes, in that time, it was expensive. I said, "I don't have the money to pay you." I said, like I was hoping that I you'd be running a class like in a couple of months, and I'd save up enough money and come and do your class. And
Yeah.
he said, "You know what?" He said, "After all the things that you told me so far," he said, "you come to class tomorrow." I said, "But I can't pay you." And he said, "Don't worry about it. We'll work something out."
Mm-hmm.
So I went to class, and he taught me, and I went to actually three different classes. So I've got different. I even went to Edmonton to take my and some of my energy work there, and I never regretted it. And he's still a friend to this day. I kind of call him my mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and he showed me so many things. I was just like, that first session was like an eye opener.
Yeah.
Like he was so good. I couldn't believe the things that he taught us. Like it wasn't just me. He taught a class of, I think there was like 15 people there, and it
Mm-hmm.
was so good. And I'd advise people, if you feel that you have something, like you know there's something, search for it. Try and find out how you can learn more about it, because it's like I told you, everybody has it. Everybody has it. It's just that people misuse it, some of them, and some of them don't know how to use it, but they have to get out and look and learn how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
They use it for the good. That's the best thing. There was
For
something
sure.
else I was going to say, and I forgot what I was going to say. It was really important too. I was just thinking about it now. I forget what I was going to.
You're just thinking about it while you're talking.
Yeah, and then it just flew out of my mind. Old lady mind.
For sure. Yeah, I think like, once you meet or bring or like brought to the right person to, really learn about, those healing or energies or whatnot, I think, you'll really connect with that person who crosses your path to mentor you or to learn from them,
Yeah.
because I think you'll just sense it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
everybody's going to have a different person to learn from. So, um, like personally for me, like I wouldn't want anybody to really learn from me yet because I don't know lots. But like I think everyone will find that person, and I'm just lucky enough to have you and mom who, have that knowledge to pass down to me, and then I'll be able to pass that knowledge to my kids and my generations. But it is so important that everyone is aware of, the power and energy and what it can really do for you, especially like athletes. Like, when you were doing energy on me a couple times and I was like still playing soccer, like you would just like, fix me up in the places that I needed to be healed. And um but really learning from you how to not absorb those energies, and especially from mom too, how to be mindful of those energies and then not bring those energies to somebody else and make their day poopy. uh, but yeah, like you said, there's so many different grounding techniques. And even if it's just small, like if you're just breathing in and breathing out, like that's something. And that's a start. So I think
I
that
agree.
little skit I did was like perfect because that just like made me feel so good. And I actually forgot I was doing the podcast. So thank you.
You're welcome. I know what I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you about the time when my second class, I was supposed to go to Edmonton,
Mm-hmm.
and my knee started bothering me. Literally, I couldn't walk. Like I was supposed to. I walked out, and I was heading to my truck, and my knee, it hurt so bad. So I went back into the house, and I told my husband. I said, "Your grandpa." I said, my knee is hurting. I said, I don't know if I can drive all the way to Edmonton. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I might have to cancel this class, like not go. And he said, well, maybe you should phone your mentor. So I did. I phoned him, and he said, that's funny. You called and asked about, you're asking for healing for your knee, because I'm having the exact same problem, he said. And I didn't know what the heck is going on. So I'll tell you what, he said, we'll switch. We'll both run energy on each other. So we did that for about, I don't know, 20 minutes. And I got up, and I was able to walk again, and I went to that class. That's how good energy is. And you were wondering about Is distance energy just as good as being there with that person? No, distance energy is just as good. That's just like praying for somebody. You pray
Yeah.
for, you don't have to be there. You pray for them, and that prayer goes to them. You don't have
Mhm.
to be right there. You just have to pray and have good thoughts for them, and you help them heal.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to tell you that I had forgot. And another thing is, when you try to do good, sometimes it seems like nothing wants to work right. Like, look what happened tonight. I couldn't log in and couldn't get my earbuds to work and this and this and this, and my things were going to run out of battery power, and it seemed like everything was getting tossed. And I said, that's just the little evil spirits that are running around trying to make havoc in your life.
You're like, the creator's telling me not to do this. I was like, no, we're doing this. But yeah,
But and then when it was time to get on, I was thinking, what did I get myself into now?
I know your crazy granddaughter getting into crazy things, calling you at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
um, but I was talking to mom earlier, and there's other ways that you can ground yourself where you're not breathing, you know? Like, there's other ways where even if you're writing it out to release whatever energy is in you, positive or negative, just to write it out so you're not thinking about it anymore and you're allowing yourself to free from whatever you're thinking about. And um we were also talking about sheesh, what was it? Ay ay ay. What was it?
I'm contagious.
It was so good. I have to remember now. Come on.
It'll come
Oh,
back. You
we
just
were we were
relax
talking
and
about smudging.
let it go.
We were literally talking about just smudging and praying. If, maybe you're not the best with breathing techniques, even just smudging and asking, creator, grandfather, grandmother to, guide you or release you from whatever's going on and allow yourself to have a good day. Or maybe say, I don't want to pick up these bad energies. Even if you're literally standing there in the moment and you're not feeling well, maybe you're really upset or whatever it is, and you just don't really want to breathe, you can literally just say it in your mind, like, grandfather or grandmother, like, I'm calling you to, I'm feeling this way, and acknowledge it. And somebody told me that they aren't actually able to help unless you ask them. Like, you have to ask for it, right? They could just watch you suffer, and it's because you didn't ask them for that help. You weren't reaching out for them to actually guide you or help you in any way. And so smudging has been actually really effective for me, like, in any way. If I'm, like, having rank anxiety one day, or if I wake up and I'm like, I don't wanna go to school or anything, like, it's important that I smudge so that I have that energy that everybody loves, right? I have that energy that other people, are used to, because, I go around and I'm so outgoing and stuff, and I always like to have that positive energy, and I don't want to be that person where I go around them and they're like, "Wow, Hailey's like, she's not doing good, or she seems mad," and then it makes them mad. I don't ever want to do that to somebody else, and I probably have, like, obviously to my family sometimes. But wow. Do you have anything else to say about
Well,
absorbing energies and
not just
grounding
absorbing.
yourself?
Remember, you were asking, you said, does everybody have the same, like, the energy? Do they all feel it the same? And I said, no. Everybody has their own special gift of how they're going to feel the energies. Remember when you're doing
Yeah,
healing?
yeah,
And like, nobody is the same. Everybody does their own energy, their own techniques, their own way. Nobody is the same. Like, I can feel one thing, and then if we were doing energy, and I've done it with another person, and that person will say, well, I felt this over here, and I feel it this and that, and then I'll say,
yeah.
I felt something over here. but in a different way. But basically, sometimes it's the same thing, but everybody feels it different. They feel
Mhm.
that energy in different ways. It manifests itself in different ways. So it's really a learning curve for the person also, because the person starts to learn, like, what does this mean when I feel this when I'm working on it? That's how it was for me anyhow. I would think like I'd be running energy on people, and then I'd find that I felt something, and then I'd think, well, what does that mean? So I'd ask the person, I said, do you feel this? Or I'd ask them a question. And then they say, oh, yeah, 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 I've been doing this, or I've been feeling that. And
Yeah.
then I would learn from them also, like what I was feeling. Like they kind of confirmed what I was thinking it was. But a lot of times at the beginning, I wouldn't say nothing. I wouldn't tell them like what I was feeling. I was still learning myself. So I wanted to kind of fill up my knowledge bag, I guess, with um, what I feel and how I feel it. So,
So the people that are watching, like, because for me, like, I'll feel it like in my gut, like I'll feel it in my stomach, like my stomach drops, like, I shouldn't be doing this, or like maybe you feel it in your hands. But what ways can people like pick up those energies, just so like maybe somebody who's watching doesn't really know, like in what ways could you absorb those energies without you actually like without them like knowing them or something, where they're a bad person or they're a good person, you're like, oh, I feel good.
yeah.
But in what other ways can
Well,
you?
some people, like what you were saying earlier, you feel like you're feeling other people. Sometimes you go around a person, and that person could be really happy, jolly, and you think, well, you can feel them. Have you ever been around somebody, they don't even have to say nothing, but when you're standing beside them, you just feel good?
Yeah, Shawn Mendes.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, and if a person is mean-hearted and bad, and they don't have nothing but negative stuff to say about people, and um, you can
Hmm.
feel it. You feel
Yeah.
it. And those are kind of people you kind of distance yourself from. You don't hang around too much. You hit the road and head for the hills.
Yeah, somebody commented here. 7 stars. I feel it in my stomach. It's my voice in my head I hear, but I believe spirit is speaking to me. Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even like up here, like, or headaches. You can get headaches too, hey?
Yeah, you can
Like
feel
if
people can actually make you sick. When you hear that saying, "Oh, that person just makes me sick." Well, it does happen. Like you get around a person that's just got such negative energy, you literally feel sick. They don't even have to say nothing half the time. You can feel it in
Mhm.
your stomach, you can feel it in your head, it's just not a good feeling.
No.
But like I said, when you find a positive person, that person just makes you feel so good everywhere. Like they don't even have to touch you. They just standing beside them is like, oh, I feel so relaxed and
Grandma,
comfortable.
grandma, that's how I feel when I stand next to you.
To me,
Yeah,
oh,
I feel
that's
calm. Um, well, I guess we should wrap it up here, but before we do that, I want to just recap.
too much negative energy.
Okay, anyways.
I don't think
Anyways.
I want to recrap anything.
Ah, it is what it is. Anyways, I want to recap like grounding yourself, what to do when you feel that way. Even if you maybe it's just yourself feeling that way, but like what you can do, because even if you're feeling it, breathing will help you, right? So can we just recap those things that we named?
Breathing techniques,
Breathing techniques,
grounding yourself.
grounding yourself,
Remember the tree
the
where you
tree.
thought you're doing the podcast.
Yeah, that
You don't
one's
even have
a
to, like, you
true
can
healer.
you can visualize all that in your mind, like just sitting there. If somebody's really being negative, just sitting there. You can visualize. Visualization is really, really good.
Hmm. Imagination, hey?
Yeah, can take you a lot of places.
Yeah, smudging, praying. Um, also, I remember you said, Grandma, you were like, it's so important you ground yourself right when you wake up. And I
Yeah,
never do that. I
yeah,
never do that. Like, and I bet you a lot of people don't do that. And it's actually, and like, I'm realizing now, like, man, like, I go around so many, like, I don't care if people pick up my energy because I'm like usually like, really positive and like always laughing stuff. But like, I just like picking up those bad energies and I go on with throughout my whole day and I'm seeing like, 100 kids every single day because I go to school and I could pick up all those different energies, even teachers, anyone. And now before I get out of bed, because I do lay in bed for like 2 hours sometimes. It would only take 2 minutes for me to just be like, pick up the good energy today. Let go of that negativity. We're gonna have a good day. Even affirmations is
yeah.
like amazing. So
That's really, really good if you're doing affirmations. Always remember that you're important. You may
mhm,
not think you're important, but you are important. There are a lot of people that go around thinking, "Oh, I'm such a bad person. Nobody likes me. Everybody." It just, I see a lot of it. A lot of times, like people, I'll hear it,
mhm,
and I usually tell them, you're not like that. Don't be like that. Like, be know that you're a very important person.
mhm.
And something happens to you, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be very, very sad. So always remember to try and think positive about yourself. Do the
Yeah.
best you can. Even if you don't think you can do it, still try to do the best you can. Don't ever, ever, ever give up.
Will be like that video, that little girl where she's like on the kitchen sink, I am pretty. She's like, I
Yeah,
am beautiful. And she's like looking herself in the mirror. Like she truly believes this.
yeah,
She truly believes it. And like she is, right?
yeah,
And the more you just tell yourself those things like, I am strong, or I can get through this, or whatever, like you literally want, say it. Or say, I'm resilient, like things like that. It once you repeat them over and over, your mentality in your mind, it starts to, pick those out and
yeah.
really believe it. Like it'll truly believe it. And that helps me sometimes. I'm like, Hailey, you're strong. Yeah, I am. Just kidding. Not
You
kidding.
are.
But we have some comments in here. Speaking affirmations out loud tell you spirit, and your spirit gives that energy to your mind and body. Something magical. Yes,
Yeah,
something
it does.
magical does happen. For sure. Okay, Grandma. Okay, Granny. I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't want to quit talking now.
It's fun, hey? Now
Yeah.
you're going to start your own podcast.
No, I don't think I'll just come and bug you on your podcast.
No, I'm really actually really thankful for you to come on. Do you have any other things you would like to say?
Mm, I think we covered what you had mentioned us to, like, we were going to talk about energy. So I think we covered, I don't want to bombard people with too much. They might just
Okay.
start thinking, ooh, her grandma's really cuckoo.
She's not.
There's
All right.
lot of different things that I've seen and a lot of different things that I've experienced that some people would say, yeah, but no. That's why I say it's everything is energy, and stay positive and always remember that if you ever leave or go someplace, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to miss you. And so just stay positive and never, ever, ever give up, because there are a lot of people out there that do try, and they try even when they're down, they never give up. So
Mhm.
don't give up.
Thank you.
Just keep
Okay,
on
Grandma.
and pray.
I'm gonna let you go and stay in the background because I want to talk to you after. But thank you for coming on to my show. Just kidding. Thank you for coming on. That was really last minute to throw you on here, but I'm super glad that you came on here with me because I couldn't have said it the way you said it. And I'm just glad that, people even know my grandma now, which is really cool. But just sharing that knowledge with the people out here, they really appreciate you coming onto the show. And I'm just glad that they got to hear it from somebody as knowledgeable and beautiful as you. So with that, Grandma, thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. And I just wish we could talk a lot longer and a lot more things and go a little deeper. But like I said, better not do that. They might think I'm cuckoo.
Okay, I'll see you backstage, Grandma.
Okay, bye.
Okay, guys, that was my Grandma Corinne. I love her with my whole entire heart. There's so many things that we could talk about when we talk about energy because it's such a broad topic. But today we tried to keep it in the absorbing energy and how to ground yourself because, those are really important things to go and walk in your every single day life. And, you're constantly meeting people and whatnot. And so just to be able to be mindful of that and be aware of what's going on and your surroundings as well. And, always be connected to nature. We literally live off of our trees, giving us oxygen. Make sure you're going for walks and, you're being active and whatnot, because it really does take a toll on you and it really does do something great for your soul. So, you guys, thank you for so much for tuning in today. I really like this. This was a little different, and I'm sorry I was a little late. But that's just me running on Indian time. But with that, thank you guys so much for tuning on to Hailey Rose Podcast. And we have amazing other podcasts happening tomorrow we have another one, and Saturday and Sunday and every other day. I'm super excited, and so you guys make sure that you're tuning in to 7 Stars Media every single day. And with that, I'd like to wish you guys a rest of good of your night. Oh my gosh, my wording is off. Rest good of your night. Okay, whatever, that's it. Just kidding. But with that, guys, I'm gonna have to say peace and love. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great night.